I mentioned this in a previous episode, but about 5 years ago I moved from Georgia to Vegas, and because Vegas houses are put together with cardboard and shrapnel, my new room was significantly smaller than my one back then. Because of this, I had to put all my physical games, which were in this bookshelf, away in the closet to make space. Because of this, around 3 years ago I sold most of my games. I didn't use these consoles much anymore, and I couldn't even display my games, so I thought, what was the point? And the last 3 years, that's how things have been, basically. The only console still up being my Nintendo Switch, which is basically being used as my TV since it has YouTube, and the TV I have in my room doesn't have streaming services or anything on it. That, my PC, and my Steam Deck for the longest time were the only consoles, I guess, in there, with a total absence of any physical games. The ones that I did have were shoved away in a drawer, and even then, it was just my Switch games. The rest were in the closet. However, around 4 months ago, things slowly began to change. My mom, scouring Facebook Marketplace, found a used, small-sized bookshelf and asked if I wanted it, and I said, sure. It wasn't in mint condition, but it's still pretty neat. I needed more desk space at the time, so something like this was perfect. I put some bullshit or whatever on top, but I had some leftover room on the shelves, and I decided, you know what? It's basically a paperweight, but I'm gonna put my NES and SNES Junior on these shelves alongside their games there as a cool display piece. And so I did. It looked really nice and kind of brought back that feeling of the bookshelf I had back in Georgia. Over time, though, that bookshelf began almost mocking me. The consoles looked good up there, sure, but it still wasn't exactly what I knew I wanted. The games not stacked up against one another, arranged alphabetically just like my old room. I didn't act on this hormonal urge, but something weird happened around a month ago. I wanted a Wii U. Now, why do I want this extremely flawed console? Well, there's probably a few good reasons in there somewhere, but I'll chalk it up to childhood trauma from never getting one in 2015. Also, trust me, look on GameStop's website and look at the Wii U games. Surprisingly, you can get them for mere nickels. At the moment, I don't have the Wii U. I'm ordering off of basically Japanese Mercari, so it's gonna take a hot minute to get here, but in the meantime, seeing these cheap games for it on GameStop's website made me realize something horrifying. I need to start hoarding again. Physical media. Physical media is a rather broad term. It could be referring to DVDs, VHSs, CDs, vinyls, but when I'm talking about it in this video, I'm mainly referring to the video games. To wrap back to what I was saying, shopping for these Wii U games rejuvenated my interest in collecting video games greatly. That poses the question, though, why? Why do I feel the need to keep all my game cases lined up in a bookshelf displayed for the whole world to see? Well, to preface, there is not an objective answer to this. Some people may display them because it simply looks nice, or they may have a deeper reasoning for it. Mine is a combination of things. First off, having physical games is inherently more satisfying to me. In the digital age where I can boot up Steam and see my landfill of games, while ridiculously convenient, it almost takes away from the excitement of owning a video game. That may sound silly, and I know a lot of people won't get it, but to me, there's something infinitely more personal about owning a physical game. With a digital game, the story is all the same. I sat on my ass and spent $20. And while some people might say, wow, that's so cool, I want to do that too, they also have hernias, so who should you really be listening to? A lot of the games on my shelf have stories to tell, experiences associated with them. When I look at a few of my Xbox One games, Tempest, Kingdom Hearts 3, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, I can distinctly remember being at a GameStop with my mom and getting them, and because of that, whether I truly care about these games or not, hell, whether I've even played them, they will always carry more weight and be more valuable to me because they carry an experience with them, and that is something that I will always treasure. The big question now is convenience versus soul. Do you want the convenience of having every game at your fingertips all in one place, games you can get and play in basically an instant, or do you want that personal attachment, that extra time put into getting the game that gives you an inevitable experience and story associated with it, with the trade-off being that it may be on a different console or it might take a little longer to start playing the game. And the thing is, I don't blame people for going with one or the other. The convenience of everything being right there at a moment's notice, no switching out CDs or cartridges, not having to switch consoles, it can't be understated how important convenience like that can be to people. But at the same time, there will always be something special about having the physical games. I have so many games on Steam, I'm bound to forget about them, and usually once I finish them, well, the chance I think about them after I finish them months or years down the line is very slim. Plus, everyone sees the same Steam. If I have Human Fall Flat, I see the same Human Fall Flat everyone else does, in their Steam library with that gray UI behind it. Now, Let's say you had that same game physically. Not everyone sees the same shelf it's on, the same room it's in, etc. It's that extra ounce of personability, if that's even a word. You know what I mean. That makes it a unique experience. And while that may not matter to some, it does to me. Not to mention they can't get taken away from you without a moment's notice. Yeah, common negative points about digital games is that you may own them, but there's always a stinky little asterisk attached to that. Or even if you're interested in the game, there's always the potential that it won't be there tomorrow. The inevitability of online stores shutting down makes the games on them closer to a ticking time bomb more so than an actual game. The good thing is that most of these games are backed up by the existence of physical games that can be backed up themselves, keeping the games alive and well. But what if that isn't the case? What if a game is stuck on the PS5 and never received a physical copy? Once the PS5 store inevitably shuts down in the future, what will be left of said game? There's always a chance the game is backed up online and can be emulated or whatnot, but that shouldn't be the case. That shouldn't be the only option if someone wants that game in the future. With the physical game, you will always have that. Someone in 20 years is going to be able to go online and buy a physical copy of a PS5 game off eBay that wouldn't normally be purchasable with a defunct online store. That copy cannot be taken away without your permission. Now, let's be honest, the chance of something like this happening is very low. It's not often that games are completely lost to time because of digital exclusivity, but the fact that it can happen at all is something to be aware of. Now, let's shift focus to another talking point of physical media, the consoles themselves. Some of these consoles have so much personality, so much quirkiness that make them unique that it's just impossible for me to prefer the Grey Lagoon over them sometimes. Some of these consoles are so stupidly unique with their own fun user interface and background music and bullshit. I love emulation. I think it's great in just about every way. However, you'll rarely, if ever, catch me emulating a Wii game because, man, having the Wii remote, the nunchuck, turning on the Wii and seeing that stupid bullshit warning screen followed by the main menu, this lively little area with multiple channels and the iconic Wii menu ambience, the little splash screen you get when opening each game, it's corny to say, but it's magical. Sure, emulating these Wii games may be a simpler and streamlined process, but by playing these games on what's not intended, you lose a lot of the core experience. You lose the context of what you're playing, what it's supposed to be on, and in the process of convenience, you end up losing a lot of the soul. Now, sure, this doesn't apply to absolutely every console. For consoles without menus, I don't think you're really missing out on a lot of the NES experience, so whatever, go ahead, I don't care that much. Now, a lot of things I've said about physical games also apply to other physical media, like CDs and VHSs. The Matrix is one of my favorite movies. It's great, a classic. I would probably end up forgetting about it for the most of my life without a physical VHS copy. I'd be a great Alzheimer's patient. And yes, I know you're probably yelling at me because of how obsolete these things are and why Spotify is the way of the future, but like I said before, there's just something special about having some of my favorite CDs. I'm more likely to listen to them, and with someone who doesn't have a car with Bluetooth, CDs are more necessary than you think. But fuck it, if I've roped you guys into this rant, why not show you what I'm rocking with in my own room? So why not? Let's do a little mini room tour. I'm not going to show everything. I'm just going to show the main stuff that kind of relates to the video, you know, the physical media. So I'm not going to be showing off like everything here. Mainly just stuff that pertains to physical media and whatnot. So just to get out of the way, for the people who really wanted to see my pillow, there you go. Starting off at the desk, there's not too much here. We've got some bullshit, but we do have on top, let's just move this piece of shit chair, we do have my CDs. Now, we do have some good ones here. This isn't all of them. We've got I Don't Know How, Gloom Division, we've got Tally Hall, Nellword, we've got some, we got Lemon Demon, we've got Igor, we've got some more I Don't Know How, Hawaii Part 2, one of the greatest albums ever made. We got some weird shit. We got like some Marty Robbins, some old head bullshit like this. It's actually a really good album. And you know, we got stuff like Will Wood, some Shine Down, Igor, Tyler the Creator. I've got like basically all of the Gorillaz discography. Now this isn't all of the CDs. I've got a few more in the car. Most noteworthy is probably In Rainbows from Radiohead, one of the best albums ever made. Now here, let's sit down for a minute. Down here, what the hell? We've got some amiibos. I didn't really talk about amiibos, but it's physical. It's not media though, so it doesn't really matter. Now here, I'm in a big renovating era for my room, so it's probably gonna look different every single week, but here we've got my modded Wii, my beloved, probably my favorite console of all time, and would you look at that hooked up right to this spare TV, with an Xbox One there too that I don't really use because I don't like the Xbox One. It's probably my least favorite console that I have. I could go on a big rant about that, but I'm not because I don't care enough. Now down here is some good shit. This is where we have the physical game collection. It's small and humble, but you know, so is my cock. So we've got a little more in common here. I've only got 4 Switch games and they're pretty hard to see. They're pretty squeezed in there. You can see there, so I've got Smash, Shadow Gens, Pokemon Violet, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I had a bunch more, but you know, I sold them. So these are kind of the leftovers. Here's my Xbox One collection. I'm really ashamed that this is the console I have the most games for because fuck this thing. Over here's my Wii collection. It's really small. It's just a few Lego games and then Brawl. I guess no one really wanted to buy the Lego games, so you know, I'm stuck with them. It's my burden to carry now. And we've got 3 360 games. I don't even have a 360. None of these work on my Xbox One either. A Kinect game too. Yeah, that's fun. I can't use that either. Blades Blue, Disneyland Adventures, and Madden 09. Yep. Okay. And let's go to the Thunder Down Under. On this second shelf, we've got an 8-bit Duke controller. That doesn't matter, though. The 2 VHSs I have. I'm going to bring more up eventually once I get more room. Specifically, I've got Home Alone and Men in Black, 2 really good movies that I conveniently have on VHS. But if I put 2 more VHSs on top of this, well, then I'd just be obscure in Persona Q and Persona Q2, and we can't have that. So here's my PS3 collection. I had 4 left over, and you know what? Not too bad. Modern Warfare 3, Far Cry, something, I can't see the number, Persona 4 and Persona 5, or Persona 4 Arena, whatever. Not too bad of a 4-pack there. We got my 3DS games right there. We got some good ones there. There's Dog Shit, Horse Shit, and 2 pretty okay Persona games. Dog Shit, and pretty good. We've got 4 CD-ROMs here, and you know, I don't need them at all. I think they're pretty fucking cool, though. I've always loved these big, thick, honking boxes that CD-ROMs come in, and so they're a really nice addition to my collection. Yeah, we've got Half-Life there. That's a cool find I found at a closing down store for like I think like $1 maybe. It was pretty cool. Now down here, you know, this is reserved space for the Wii U games. There's gonna be a bunch of fucking Wii U games here. And you know, any more I pick up, I do want more 360 games. Ones that actually work on my Xbox One would be really cool, but you know, can't all be winners. And while we're here, let's take a look at this, the closet. Actually, pretty cool looking. I've got my NES, my SNES Junior, and a bunch of sponsor accessories for the Quest 3, pretty much all of which I have used. I actually used these, and the boxes look nice, so I kept them. You can see there's games. I don't really have any noteworthy games of the SNES and NES, which kind of stinks because there's a lot of them. But up here, I think, is the coolest part. We've got all of my boxes. I've got all the Quest stuff there. My Xbox One, Super Nintendo, Switch up there. And this little bugger, see, it's not actually in here, it's over here. Welcome to round 2, baby. This is some bullshit. Alright. And now we have the Steam Deck. Great little console. I don't use it as much as I should, but I use it enough. My Nintendo Switch, it's the Nintendo Switch. I don't really like it, and I'm ready for the Switch 2 to come out. My 3DS, my modded 3DS. It is the only other console that I have modded, because I don't care enough about the Xbox One to mod it, for one. And, you know, it's a Nintendo console. It's kind of like, it's supposed to be modded. Let's be real with ourselves. Now, you may also be asking, why didn't I mod the Switch 1 then? I was 12. I didn't know I could mod it. I updated the software. I can't do it now. And this piece of shit, it's not even hooked up. The At-Games Sega Genesis. It's a very mediocre quality. It's not, like, horrible. It does its job. But, you know, if I ever start collecting Genesis games in the future, you can play them here. So, you know, it's always an option. And here is my humble collection of Minecraft physical copies. I just got this one recently. This one's funny because it sucks. And, yeah, I mean, I've basically shown you all the main stuff, the main physical media bullshit that I have. This may be longer than the actual video itself. I didn't think I'd have so much to talk about. But, you know, this kind of bookends the video. So, hey, if you made it this far, You already know what I'm gonna say. You don't need me to tell you. I appreciate it if you stuck around this long. I truly do. If you want more stuff like this, trust me, I would love to gush over stupid shit like this, and maybe even give a full room tour, you know, giving more detail and whatnot. And you know, I might in the future, so if you want that, let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Hopefully I have a Wii U by then. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.